Yay, everybody! Hello, hello.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's the Coco Tapes.
yeah.
We're back.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
today we're going to go into Christmas dynamics.
yeah.
What's actually going on? Why is it supposed to be so cozy and let's all get together? And it never gets there quite, does it?
No. But I think it's because it's kind of like I don't know why I'm saying this. 'Cause this is thought that just popped in. You say like people you're intimate with. You're not just intimate with that one person. You actually have the parents, the grandparents, many generations in the bed too, and all the person you're intimate with, you have all their relatives as well.
That's a
Which
crowd,
means
man.
every time, yeah, yeah. Think about that when you have one night stands. I mean,
Holy
I,
shit.
I, I met, I met a person that said, and she never had any kind of intimate relationships, and I asked her why, and she said, well, because, as I just said, when you're intimate with people, you mix, you get DNA, all kinds of things. And they have a lot of people, I think it's 7 generations back. And she said,
Okay.
and that's just a little too many for me in one bed.
That's funky. It reminds me
Instead
of the, what is it, D. Martin that said, how the hell did all these people get into my room?
exactly. That's that should make you consider things sometimes in life when you get intimate in situations. Anyway, the same thing goes for when you put a lot of people in one room, right? And when it's family, especially because it's all tied up deeper. So the small happy kids that are looking forward, they're all programmed and messed up inside with all these family expectations and
Mm.
discomforts and the feelings of abandon, all these feelings the mother has and the dad has. Let's just say there's two kids and a mom and a dad. Let's just take that picture, right? Go with that one first. Okay, that's four people. But it's not four people because then there's a mother in the kitchen, maybe cooking, and she has her mother, spirit wise, on her back, her grandmother, and so on and so on. So all these feelings from one person, yeah, and you just, times four. Expectations, unspoken dreams, everything. Last year's terrible Christmas or perfect Christmas.
Yeah. And
Um,
the bad one the year before, or the
everything.
perfect one.
Yes, yes, yes. And if you did invite more people to your table, cousins, aunts, whatever, uncles, new partners, new kids. Imagine, like, if you look at it from up, I always look at it like eagle side down on this table, on this living room, and you see all these energies moving around. And I think this is why, even though four people decide we're gonna have a really good time and everything's perfect, these other call it entities, energies will enter at some point, right? And they will mess up things or disturb things because you have to be super sharp or super conscious to notice what's going on in yourself and in the person on the other side of the table. And you're usually not. And in the bottom line, we're all there usually to get our own desires fulfilled. And even though we do it for the others, that's also an egoistic way of getting your own desires
Mm.
fulfilled because then you're the good person doing it for the others. You get
Mm.
the gifts for the other, you're actually still satisfying your own needs or your own image or your own whatever purpose. So I just think this is why it's always gets really sticky. And not to mention that most people enter these days knowing they repeat patterns. They expect it to become difficult. They expect the drama or the feelings and the emotions, right? So the pre-program they made will manifest, which is usually difficult.
Mm.
Like here we go again, just saying that. then you're already made, a here we go again story, right? Instead of saying, okay, clean slate. Today, this time, it's gonna be like whatever you really want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's most about we forget to pre-plan properly. Yeah. What do
I
you think?
I think well I think I did that like making I found out ways of making at least the food and stuff easier. Like you know with the I used to prepare a lot like for the last 3 years I've done so, preparing way ahead so that making the food itself for that evening would be something that takes max 40 minutes, and would be great food. And then actually, when I think back, in past times, it used to be very easy for me. It wasn't like, not that I didn't have expectations, but it was like a time of, just letting go. But what was really hard for me was that what followed was like, it would take me like a month to get back on the horse, back in the saddle. That would be the hard
Mm-hmm.
part, actually. But the Christmas
Mm-hmm.
evenings by themselves were actually quite, we had so tight a ritual that it was fine. And then I would always have this time which I would take for myself, where I had my own little rituals and stuff like that, um, which made it easier. But what happened over time, I find, is very much that it's like the sense of it all. It was like sand between my fingers. It just went away. There was no longer a point for all this gifts stuff or yeah, and watching all these Christmas movies, about how love was found in the last minute, like all these whatever the romantic comedies and the whatever it is, like it was like so sugared down, that you just end up sometimes feeling really lonely uh, in those moments when you watched all that stuff. It was like, wait a minute, what is it? It's like eating cake, icing with cake on top, like whole of the icing and then the cake on top, right? I don't know. It was, and now it's just like it has there's a new time where it needs a new space. It needs a new place. It needs to be filled up with uh,
Yeah.
with a new
But
kind of.
that's the point. Yeah. Well, I mean, back to the dynamics. Like, what is it that does when people come together at Christmas that is difficult? And if you take it back to that where we started out, it was like it's because, as I believe, okay, it's all these big melting pot of all these emotions, and because people don't communicate, we don't I mean, agree or say, okay, we're gonna have a Christmas like this. This time it's gonna be like this and this and this. And many keep on going back to having this wanting to copy the Disney model of a Christmas, the perfect white Christmas and all the perfect everything perfect, perfect, and everybody's happy. Nobody has that usually more than like 10 minutes. And secondly, many people want to go away from that idea. They want to create their own, but again, they're so people are so programmed to not being able to take that step. They may try to disown the old way, but they're still sitting there and not knowing what to do. Then what should we then do? Like again, traditions. What is traditions? Is again something we're brought up with. It's not our own. We never really check. Do I actually really like this tradition? Often we don't even check. We just do it because that's what we do, right? So the point is to create your own new ones. Or that's anything from the food or the habits or the routine. So to do it more personally, this year we had a mix of 7 different people that actually not all of them knew each other very well. We don't have to. They had 7 different desires or needs, really. Of course, the grown-ups wanted the kids to be happy. That's the main point. But it's all kind of big kids and the point was to communicate like what time do we want to do this? What time do we want to go for the walk? What time do we eat? Uh, at some point, somebody put on the TV, which peed off one or two of the other people because they don't like that TV thingy. And again, pick your fights, right? So three people were happy watching some kind of Christmas-ish cartoon. It only took half an hour, and that was it, for the tradition feeling, but it was so typical to see that they were really actually numbed down. They were like, okay, I just have to do this because this is what we do. But they didn't really find great pleasure in it. But again, talking about tradition and habits, right? This is
Mm.
part of Christmas. This is what we do. So I just think that, of course, people can be together, 20 people for Christmas dinners, if the different leaders, as I call them, you fix the program, the plan,
Yeah.
and everybody has a say in. And again, it's a negotiation, really, right? It's about negotiating.
Oh,
You
God.
don't have somebody can just dominate it all, right? Anymore. So yeah, yeah, it's a heavy thing, and everybody falls in at some point, even though when they say I'm not going to eat that much, but everybody still gets, or I'm done with that. It's so funny. I've been really listening and seeing and hearing friends and people, even though maybe they don't see it themselves, but fall in the pot. Like, you know, even somebody called Sammy, he ate too much sushi the other day and he couldn't talk.
By the day after, yes.
But he doesn't eat anymore. He don't eat any, Everybody falls in at some point.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Yeah, it's funny. So I guess for me, I think it's interesting to just try to fly up above and just watch it and watch myself too, of course. What do I do and what do I'm like them. I feel I'm like many husbands, really. I'm like, I just wanted to get over with.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm done with it. But that's because I've been for 20 years. I've been the mom that, the cooking, the lot, but and I was very happy that my grown-up daughter told me because at some point, even though we had so little we had to do for this Christmas Eve, food-wise, to bring to the table, and I was preparing it and I got stressed. It was nothing. And I wasn't really, I had nothing to stress about, but it was the energy from the past,
Yeah. I know.
the
Yeah.
thing of me being in the kitchen, and I caught myself and I said, okay, come on, you're stressing over this. And then I asked my daughter, was I always like this on Christmas Eve? And she said, yeah. And I really said, I'm so very sorry. And this is what many mothers do. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. All those years I've been stressing
Yeah.
to make everything perfect. And it wasn't really nice for anybody because mommy was stressed,
Yeah.
right? To make this perfect, yeah,
And then
Christmas.
just when we're all through that, what comes along? New Year's Eve.
Mm, mm,
And everybody
exactly.
has those great expectations of it being magical too.
Mm, yeah,
What a
yeah,
way to
exactly.
end the one year and then start off the next, right? It's like often it's two failures in a row, and then you just like you wonder why am I why am I stumbling into the new year?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess again, it's about being conscious, trying to really catch yourself in every situation in these times, especially in the season here. Catch yourself. Like, why do I take this candy? Why do I feel like that beer or wine? Or why do I shop this thing? Really ask yourself, who is this doing this? Is it me or is it the habit? Is it the family? What is this, right?
Yeah,
To
I have to
find
say
out.
it was. I mean, this Christmas was nice. It wasn't all it wasn't stressed out because as I said, the food was like good and easy to prepare. I had learned my lessons there, still did that, and then because I didn't drink, that was like a very funny thing because if you don't drink at Christmas, then you don't have that buzz, and that buzz gives you that it gives you that elevated and at the same time down feeling that makes you like maneuver through it in this. It gives you that feeling of being
Mhm.
on a tightrope or something, and you're like, oh, that's okay. This is going quite fine. We're doing okay. And all of that sensation, which gives it a little bit of a excitement. That wasn't there, right? So you suddenly just see it with sober eyes, and you see it with clear eyes, and you're just like, wow. And this is so important. Why? You just keep on having that discussion with yourself. Wow. Hey, Sam, come over here. Why is this so important? I can't help it. I don't know. I don't know. Just because they say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also easy to get caught up, where like you need to isolate yourself in periods to get rid of programs and traditions, right? It's difficult because you feel obliged to do this and that. I can get an example just like today. We were in town, didn't need anything, hanging out with some friends that are visiting, and the one person needed to get something for New Year's because going back to a very big New Year's party, still into that part. Okay, fine. And I'm not saying anything, even though I know it's not New Year's on the 31st. I know, whatever. I'm just okay playing along. Oh, that looks nice and so on. And then due to these two girls, my daughter then she gets caught up in it and finds something too. Even though we're having a very chilled New Year's Eve with some friends probably here on the island and it's very low key and you don't need to dress up like crazy. Especially and I'm in a conflict because I don't even want to dress up because it's not really New Year's.
Mm.
It's on the 1st of April, then I'll dress up if I have to. Anyway, and I could see how she got smitten, like I was calling. She got in that shopping mode, and she's not really a shopper because we were in town. The
Yeah.
energy is about shopping,
Got the feeling.
consuming, and then suddenly, and I was like, I was a little bit in a conflict because first of all, it was my credit card. Okay, so
Yeah, that doesn't help.
no.
That doesn't help. Give me that.
Secondly, it was like, and this is picky fights again. Should I like ruin their vibe? No, they were happy shopping, girls shopping. And my daughter's not really that terrible. She always wears secondhand and get cool stuff. But it was very nice. Yes, yes, it was. I must admit. And then again, but it was funny to see because when we're alone, away from people, there's nothing of that.
No.
Everything's cool, no need. But then suddenly, and this thing is the same with the Christmas dinner. We eat and eat because the neighbor, you may not be a eater, but because you're sitting at the table, oh, don't you want to taste this? What about a little more of that? What about a little more? And you eat and eat and eat the
Yeah.
candy, eat the chocolate, eat the cake, and can't say no
Yeah.
or can't. It's like these small entities jumping around on this table and just getting in people's mouths and hearts and ears and everything. It is crazy. And also because you don't want to be the odd one out either.
Yeah, of course.
I find it tough enough because they were drinking this Christmas, not a lot, but they were like, dude, the cheer, cheer, chin, chin part. I was like,
Yeah.
and I feel, yeah, they're sitting with the good red wine and I'm sitting with my water.
Yeah.
And it's a little flat feeling, of course, and I was a little caught. I was almost getting ready to say yes for some wine. I wouldn't drink
Yeah.
it, but just to have it to like,
Yeah.
I'm also doing it with you
Yeah.
guys. Yes, it is special now, very special.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. But I guess it's just a reminder to get sharp, get to know yourself, get to just be clean in your talk. And yeah.
That was actually now that you mentioned the wine, I just had to say it was like we were sitting in the sofa after dinner. We had eaten, even the desserts and everything. And my father comes back from the space where he keeps the wine and stuff like that, and then goes over to my daughter and he says, "Here, this one is a Saint Emilion." And then he puts it up, and I was like, "Ah, shit! You almost had me." That's just a fancy
Exactly.
French name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Almost got
Exactly.
me there. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yes. Enough of that.
Enough of that. We've come through that now. Now we're preparing to get to the next one. which will be in what,
Yeah.
2 days, 3 days.
Yeah.
Then we'll have
Yeah.
to face a whole evening of saying no to the champagne and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Exactly.
there'll be
But that's
peace,
what's the point?
peace for a little
Yes.
while.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's crazy. Oh well. Good
All
enough.
right.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, keep it civil, and please do leave a comment. It would be nice. All right. But we'll see you next time. Bye
We
bye.
will. Ciao. 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 Ciao.